Intelligent, insightful, smart. These are words other podcasts use to describe themselves, not us. This is Fairly Harmless, where missing the point is only the beginning. With musical accompaniment provided by the Boston Horns, East Coast Funk. Please enjoy Andrew and James.
Welcome to Fairly Harmless.
I am Andrew, and that is James. Oh, shit. There's a famous catcher for the Yankees, Yogi Berra,
Yes.
who would always mix his metaphors up.
I get Yogi Berra and Tommy Lasorda mixed up. Is that a problem for me, you think?
Well, they're two different people who played for and or coached different teams.
Tommy Lasorda was big for me in the growing up because he spelled relief with Rolaids.
And did he eat the spicy meatball?
I don't know.
Was that...
Is he still alive?
No, poor Tommy. He's dead. Not too long ago, but a few years ago.
He lived a long life, Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, see, he died 2021. So 92 years, yeah.
That's a good long life. 93 it says here on the Wikipedia.
Ah, yeah, see, he managed the Dodgers from 76 to 96.
Wow.
That's a long time to be
That's a long time to be manager. So let's put up with a lot of umps. I was watching a game the other night. It was the highlights. It was can't remember who was playing, so that really doesn't help. The ump was like to the coach, he's like, "You're out of here," and he just did the big wave and then threw him out. And
that's awesome.
I was talking to our good friend Special Ed today, and I was asking him, baseball makes this huge production out of throwing coaches out of games with the umps. They really make this big showy production of it. And yet with football, you almost never see it. And you see coaches in football get pissed off like you wouldn't believe. And yet you never see them get thrown out of games. Even if they do get thrown out, it's a very hush-hush thing. Like, it's almost like the NFL doesn't want to show them getting thrown out. Yet when it happens in baseball, it's like this big, like, oh, get all the cameras on it right now so we can watch the coach get thrown out of the game.
Well, I mean, it is a whole production. I've seen managers walk up to umps, yell in their faces,
kick dirt on them.
Kick the
dirt on their shoes,
and then get thrown out.
And then
don't
you're like,
touch them. You can't touch them. If you touch them, then you're going to get fined.
That's right. They're like,
but see,
there's like no sex in the champagne room. Can't be touching. No touchy.
That's right. Well, there could be sex, not between two people. Some self-love.
Oh, so master of your own domain. Is that really considered sex, though?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm. You know what? I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it may incriminate some people. No.
Tony La Russa. That's who I'm thinking of. Not Tommy Lasorda. Tony La Russa. I get them confused because they have similar names. But he's younger right now. He's only 78.
Right. I'm trying to think. When I think of Tony La Russa, I think he guided his teams to 3 World Series titles. That's amazing. He's got 2,900 wins.
Wow.
Let's see, so he managed the White Sox, the Athletics, the Cardinals. That's what I remembered it from, was the Cardinals. And the White Sox again.
Tony La Russa. He just retired, I guess.
Apparently. Wow. Inducted into the Hall of Fame with a 100%. That's unusual. I think that's unusual, no? Or maybe I'm thinking of first ballot inductees.
That seems like that doesn't happen much.
I don't think so. Not to be negative, but I must say I'm happy that the Cheater Pumpkin Eaters, Mark McGuire.
Yes, Mark McGuire and Sammy
Sosa have not yet made it in, and I hope they don't.
Aaron Judge. He broke what's his name's record. Yeah, he broke Roger Maris's record. Last year he hit 62 home runs in the regular season, which was the AL home record. But those were non-juiced, as far as we know, because he hasn't come out and said, "Oh yeah," he hasn't been 10 years and come out and say, "Oh yeah, we were juicing the whole time."
Prior to him, the National League total is higher.
It is,
not including McGuire or Sosa.
Okay,
I think.
I don't know who it was. I always knew it was only those two. Barry Bonds,
right?
He was able to hit a bunch.
I like this. Major League Baseball records. Most home runs, Barry Bonds at 73, which he did in 2001. Wow, most hits, Ichiro Suzuki, 262. That is a fuck ton. I guess we've never really discussed it, but are you a baseball fan, James?
Yeah.
Good.
There's only one sport, major sport, I despise watching, and that's professional basketball.
It's probably me. But it seems like so many of the players are showboat jackasses now.
Oh, in basketball?
In basketball.
Yeah, that's the reason I don't watch it. Because, I mean, they need to change the rules for professional basketball. It's just, there's no defense. It's all showboating. I mean, they can hit shots from half court, no problem. I mean, it's crazy. There's some people that I talk to on a regular basis that think that it'd be good if they extended the 3-point line and if they made the court bigger. Basically, just made it harder. If you look at sports like golf, when Tiger Woods came along, the Masters in Georgia, they did this whole thing where they called it tiger-proofing the course. They changed the whole landscape of the course, which made it harder for not only Tiger Woods, but everybody else. So their little attempt to make it harder for Tiger Woods did in fact make it harder for Tiger Woods, but it also coincidentally made it harder for everyone else, which allowed him to continue to win for years and years. I mean, notwithstanding, Tiger Woods, great golfer. I mean, one of the best. But it also made the younger generation have to play harder, and it made golfers better over time. You look at something like basketball, and I love college basketball. Huge fan. Love NC State. They're quite the underdogs. I like watching college basketball because it shows real talent, and it shows teamwork, and it shows a team that really, when they're cohesive and they work together, they win games. You look at professional basketball, and it's like you get a couple of big name guys, and it's just them. It's almost like golf. It's like golf team sport.
I've not watched pro basketball since.
I don't think I've really watched it since Michael Jordan was on the Bulls. Yeah.
And I gave up then because, I mean, he was just so dominant.
Oh, so dominant.
And there was no, because, I mean, those teams were just so good. I mean, him and
Scottie Pippen. I mean.
Right. Pippen would have been an all-star. And he was an all-star, but he would have been the main franchise guy on any other team and would have won plenty of rings. Instead, it was him and Jordan and
who else was on that team?
I mean, later on, it was Tony Kukoc?
There was somebody else that was there with Pippen and Jordan. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Well, there was an idiot, Rodman.
There was Rodman, that's right.
I never liked him ever since he had played with the
Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong-il and the Pistons. He just seemed like an idiot.
I have comedians that I've always loved. Like Chris Rock is one of my absolute favorite comedians of all time. Dave Chappelle. The Chappelle Show alone was mind-blowing for its time.
Chappelle Show was great. Some of the stuff he's done.
Since I'm not a huge fan of, but I mean, people change. That's fine. Right. Do you remember Chris Rock's special that he did when Barack Obama was running for president? Some of the funniest stuff, man. He did these cuts. He did because normally, he had Bigger and Blacker, which was shot just on one stage. But the one that he did when Barack Obama was running for president was it was like he filmed it in 4 locations and they chopped it all together. It was
Chris Rock.
interesting. It was the Chris Rock special from that time period. And I mean, the jokes were funny, they were on point, but it didn't flow as well for me because it was all these different events. They tried to tie it together, and it was an interesting idea. I just don't think it flowed very well. Chris Rock, for the time that he was around, in the stand-up comedian stuff that he did, was so perfect for the time period. And Chappelle's show, when he did the Chappelle show, there's things that he did on that show you couldn't get away with it all these days. And there's some things I can't mention, but they were hilarious.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about a couple of things I can't mention, all right? As a white guy on a podcast, okay? So, but and don't get me wrong, I have no concept of what it's like to be somebody other than a fat white American male, okay?
Right.
But
right.
I saw a lot of, or at least I could see some perspective on that and see how funny it was. And I'm sure on some levels it cut other people very deeply, but being even willing to have some perspective on what he was talking about.
Right.
Really, really made me laugh, from a genuine laugh for a political statement that it was.
Sure.
A socio-economic political statement. I don't know what the hell all that was about, but I enjoyed it.
Well, it sounded good.
Oh, man.
Those monkeys are going to pay.
Okay, Professor Frank.
That's my favorite character from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Professor Frank.
And as you know, my favorite character is Homer, so I go for the big guy.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Nick. I'm a huge Dr. Nick fan.
Dr. Nick. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Nick. If you're not clear about something, rub it against a piece of paper. If the paper turns clear, it's your window to weight gain.
Dr. Nick Riviera?
Dr. Nick Riviera, yeah. That's right. Now, I just want to touch on something. We touched on this on the Lost Failed Fairly Harmless podcast. But I wanted to get back into it because I thought it was very funny, which was failed dating app names. Because, the ones that are very successful these days, Tinder, which I guess on certain levels I understand how they came up with that name. Grindr, which makes sense when you think about it.
Tinder is you got to start a fire, right?
Right, you start a fire.
Got it. Romance.
Romance, fire, kindling, starting a relationship.
Kindling. Very nice.
Then they have the two that are less accurate.
Plenty of Fish.
Well, that was a website, Plenty of Fish.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I don't think I don't know if they ever came out with a dating app, Plenty of Fish, but there was a website which it was a lot like, and I think it still exists, but it's a lot like the Craigslist of dating apps. You didn't have to pay to be on there. You could just be like, single male in Raleigh looking for a good time. Like, you didn't have to pay anything.
How many of these people were
monsters?
I was going to say professional sex workers.
I have no idea.
Or semi-professional.
Or just getting into the game. Who knows?
True.
You last week, see, because this all stems from my dating app idea, which was Shelf.
Great
which is
name.
Because, fat people
trademarked that.
No, and I probably should before we put this out on the internet.
You really should,
because it's a great idea.
Or
but
at least reserve. What is it you did with the
domain names?
Domain names.
Yeah, I could buy the domain name. Unfortunately, shelf.com is already taken, so we'd have to get something like shelf.app or something nobody would ever use. Shelf.net, shelf.org, but
shelf.gov.
Shelf.gov. It could be a government thing. Get the IRS involved, It's because fat people like yourself and myself have a well, maybe not. I mean, thin people may not know.
Thin people are not going to know what's going. You're right. We got to explain it to them.
You can place food, beverages on your gut and hold them up. So
you could even place your phone there to take a selfie.
You could do a selfie. You could even use your shelf while you're browsing Shelf. It could be very meta if you wanted it to be.
Very meta, indeed.
Now, and what was interesting is we were talking about the current apps that exist, like Bumble, which is an app, according to a friend of mine who uses this app, that is predominantly it's based. The women go on there, and then the men can't really pick out the women. It's all reversed. The women pick out the men, and then that's how Bumble works. And then the new one, which isn't that new right now, but was new a couple of years ago, was Hinge. And
really, this is not made up.
It's a real, actual thing.
What is the Hinge a reference to?
I have no idea.
You're opening the door to love.
But then you had the great idea.
Be a trap door.
The trap door. The trap door.
Sorry.
The garage door.
The garage door.
If,
could be monsters in there. You want to be careful.
That's right. The back door.
The back door.
But you mentioned during the last episode of Fairly Harmless that a great name would be Wrench. And I thought that would be hilarious. I couldn't think of, like Toolbox,
Sure.
And then you also had a great idea for one to be called Doormat, which would just be like you'd let anybody walk all over you. You just listen. It'd be like Plenty of Fish, but somehow even worse.
Abuse. Well,
not abusive, but kind of like.
Wait, is it Plenty of Fish for sadomasochists?
I don't know. I mean, on Plenty of Fish, you can do pretty much anything. It's like the back page. You don't have to pay for it. It's just like the classifieds for people looking to hook up.
So how do they
monitor it? I have no idea.
Well, yeah, I'm less interested in that, but how does one monetize?
It's got to be advertising.
It's got to be advertising.
It's got to be advertising. But I thought that would be. I liked your idea of Wrench. I started to think of other things around the other household items like turkey basters and meat mallets.
I mean, mallet. That sounds
colander.
Like another one.
Colander would be a great one, or sieve.
Again, we're getting into sadomasochist.
You seem to be right on that kick tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Find that appealing at all. I don't know. I've never been beaten during sex, or have beaten anyone. But it's not appealing to me.
Yeah, I don't.
Although I know it's a thing with some people, hence the
existence of this thing.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? If there's not a name for it, then it hasn't been done yet, right? So.
Right.
And then that's when you really start to look at people like, oh, geez.
So we need to come. So I like this idea more and more. You're thinking of making up ideas, names for dating apps / sex apps.
Yeah, I think so.
Apps.
I mean, literally, like I'm looking at whoosh, boosh, but that's just a noise.
Well, yes.
I kind of like the idea of taking like household items and making them into dating apps. Like tuning fork, or like
tuning fork. Honey, I got the tuning fork again.
I found this chick on tuning fork tonight.
She's a little deaf, but she's great.
She's tone deaf, but man, is she great.
So tuning fork.
I'm trying to think of other household items. I'm looking around your household, and I'm not seeing anything that's really unique. Jumping out at me here.
Well, there's my I can't remember what the hell you call it.
Can opener. That'd be another one.
My I'm looking at my thermometer there. I forget what kind of thermometer it is.
That is a great thermometer.
But it's
very classy. For the people that can't see the thing that you and I are looking at, it's one of those glass-filled
it's not glass filled. It's made of the glass
with the little metallic numbers, and it floats in different weights due to the temperature.
I think
it has a name. I'm sure
it does. I can't remember what the hell the name is. I want to say it's a German name, but I could be absolutely Farvik Nuken wrong.
Yes. I don't know what to tell you about any of that.
We're no longer trying to be funny.
Trying to be funny. We've dropped the shtick of trying to be funny.
Okay with just
Talking.
Yep.
And if it never goes anywhere, then who gives a shit? At least we had fun. I was thinking about the National Museum of Barbecue.
Ooh, we should.
I feel like that might be in Texas.
My brother-in-law, who is an aficionado of barbecue.
I am also an aficionado.
Well.
But he sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
I just like to eat it.
I like to eat it too, but he actively searches out joints.
I'm a joint searcher.
So here's an idea I have. If we find people who will give us money, I love North Carolina barbecue as much as the next person. Maybe not as much. I like it. But you know what? You can't get any other fucking kind of barbecue in this fucking town. And I used to live in the Midwest. And you know what?
You like that tomato base.
You know what? It's fine. Variety is the spice of life.
It is. But here in North Carolina, your variety had better include vinegar and no other types.
Exactly. So if we had a like Texas barbecue joint where they just smoke, that shit is delicious. And yes, the tomato-based stuff, or tomato-based with like spice in it, or hot, that is absolutely fucking delicious.
Have you had the place from out in Nightdale?
That was one of the ones that
that place is banging.
That Tom told me about. Longleaf swine.
Yes.
I
haven't had that theirs yet.
And Prime Barbecue.
Prime Barbecue, that's the one, yeah.
Connecticut-dale.
Also known as Nightdale.
Nightdale. Longleaf swine is...
in Raleigh. It's in downtown Raleigh.
It is. Yeah, Prime Barbecue in Nightdale. So yeah, Tom was telling me there's no point in going there at 4. They've sold out of all the meat.
Yeah, you know how you do it.
So you got to go there at like 9 a.m. in the morning.
We did it
to get ribs.
We did it for my wife's birthday. We had Prime Barbecue come to the house.
Is that where that was?
Yeah.
So I have it. That was fucking delicious.
Yeah. So that's how you do it. You set up a little event. Maybe if we ever get sponsorship, we could give a little feedback to our listeners down the road and have a little party. So yeah, Prime Barbecue, awesome. Haven't had Longleaf swine. We were supposed to have Longleaf swine, but their equipment failed the week before. Their refrigeration equipment failed, so they couldn't do it. So they actually suggested.
Oh, really?
No Prime shit. Barbecue.
I remember you telling us this story, and I was amazed.
Yeah. So another company said, "Listen, we can't do it, but here's a guy that can," and we went with Prime Barbecue, which in my book makes them look good too. So
wow. So we got to definitely try Longleaf.
We got to try the Longleaf swine. We got to do it.
So we don't even need to go. We just need to fucking call up and order a family pack or what have you.
Yeah, but I thought it was. I mean, I don't know if you listeners out there ever, if you're in the Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, Nightdale area, if you're in the Triangle and you need some barbecue, Prime Barbecue is amazing. They come to your house if you have a little setup. It was extremely professional.
They bring food.
They bring the metal things and the warmers and the whole deal.
They bring the chafing dishes and the
way they presented the barbecue was also very well done. It was very well done, extremely professional, and I would definitely recommend them. Not a sponsor,
folks. It's a fantasy of mine that whenever James dies,
I'm the one holding the pillow.
I hope I'm involved. I don't want him to die,
but I'm going to help.
But I want to help when it's time.
You know, if I ever end up dead and it's strangely mysterious, I hope the police listen to this podcast.
Alibi? Absolutely, I have an alibi.
Once again, this has been fairly harmless. Missing the point on, wait, what's the point? Our musical accompaniment provided by the Boston Horns, East Coast Funk. Their music is available for streaming and purchase on most media platforms. For Fairly Harmless, this has been your announcer, Fast Eddie. See you soon.